The next time you put something in that mouth that doesn't belong there, I'm gonna remove it and then call the police.
Before they were superheroes, they were teenage heartthrobs. Ever have a bit of deja vu watching the MCU movies? Any guess which Marvel actor played pretty much themselves in a teen classic? How about the performer who to this day has never seen the film that shot them to fame?
Isn't that Carson Basin?
We know him now as Bucky Barnes, but if he looks familiar, it's because we were probably gawking over him when we were younger, watching him play Carson Basin in Gossip Girl for the first 3 seasons. The Romanian-American actor actually dated his co-star Leighton Meester for a couple of years while they were filming.
What are you doing with this insect?
Having the time of my life. Thank you very much.
Between Gossip Girl and The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, he was plenty busy working and had roles in the Once Upon a Time series and in popular movies like The Martian and I, Tonya.
How do we know it's gonna end any differently than it did before?
Because before you didn't have me.
Before she was Captain Marvel, she was a queen bee. When exactly? Well, at the young age of 14, we saw a young blonde Brie Larson as Liz in the teen movie Sleepover. She had far less experience back then, but she still pulled it off and gave a really memorable performance. We totally forgot about this early role since she looked so different. She also appeared as Six Girl in the classic film 13 Going on 30.
My spirit animal was a frog.
He's one of the most recognizable stars in Hollywood now, and his performance as Peter Quill is always brilliant. But before he joined the MCU, he played in loads of successful projects. One of his earliest standout roles was playing Che, the hippie who introduced summer to activism in The OC. His projects and roles are quite varied, from the sitcom Parks and Rec to Jurassic Park, and of course, Guardians of the Galaxy.
That is the coolest sentence I've ever heard somebody talk.
Before he became a Marvel MVP, Gunn was a regular in Stars Hollow. It's actually where he got his big break, the classic Gilmore Girls. While we all remember his brilliant performance as Kirk Gleason, the town oddball, he actually had 3 different roles in the show. His first appearance came in the 2nd episode of the series, where he played the small role of a DSL installer.
I was told that you wouldn't be here, but to look for a ceramic frog with a key in it.
I don't understand.
We can't find the frog.
Fast forward to the 3rd episode, where he appeared as Swan Man, until finally episode 5 brought us Kirk. The DSL installer role was actually the reason he was considered for the bigger role at all. That was the first part he auditioned for, and when he had, the casting directors thought there was something special about him, so they rehired him to take on a bigger role.
I'm the new assistant manager here.
They kept writing him in and made him a series regular and one of the most beloved characters on the show. Just goes to show there really are no small roles. Before she was Gwen Stacy in The Amazing Spider-Man and its sequel, she was a part of a very definitive film for our generation. That's right, we're talking about Easy A.
It's incredible. It's phenomenal. It's pretty much a perfect movie.
Her performance as Olive Pendergast stole our hearts and shot her right to fame. For such a major role, it's pretty surprising to know that the actress has actually never seen the iconic movie herself. Part of the reason for this is that when she was filming, she was just 20 years old and felt a lot of pressure to be good. She found herself quite overwhelmed by the amount of responsibility and weight she carried in the movie that the whole experience wasn't so enjoyable. While she did attend a friends and family screening, she actually snuck out after just a couple scenes and has still never seen the full movie.
I found it really challenging emotionally.
The Deadpool actor's career has been extensive, but one of our favorite Reynolds throwbacks is definitely the classic rom-com Just Friends.
Wow, you don't see that every day.
He'd been building his career for a while, but this movie was when he really began to blow up. His makeup to create his 12-pound, unrecognizable face took a whole 4 hours to apply each time he had to perform as his uncool high school self.
We have fun, we work hard, and we win national championships.
She rocked as MJ, but her star turn as Torrance Shipman in Bring It On is a definite career highlight. Surprisingly, she wasn't even the first pick for the role. Once she was finally offered the role, she actually turned it down a few times before accepting. Thank goodness she finally did say yes, because it's hard to imagine anyone else playing that role.
I want it, I'm hot, I'm everything you're not.
Plus, it wound up being her big break into the industry. Dunst has said that Torrance was the character she played that she felt the closest to. She was a 16-year-old real-life cheerleader, so yeah, she was basically Torrance.
Who's speaking?
It's your conscience. We don't talk a lot these days.
Remember when Ant-Man of the MCU was playing a teenager in Clueless? How about this KU hat he wore in the film? That was a special piece that actually belonged to the actor himself. He got to pay tribute to his alma mater wearing it, but unfortunately, he's never seen it since wrapping the film.
Can you imagine the nerve of that guy?
We obviously love her as She-Venom in the MCU, but remember her time on Dawson's Creek as Jen Lindley? She was actually really insecure about her time on the show because even though she was one of the 4 leads, she was so often overshadowed, especially by Katie Holmes' character.
It makes me, timid.
She noticed how much less screen time she was getting and was constantly worried that she was doing something wrong. She also wasn't a fan of her character's passing at the end of the series. We're on Michelle's side for this one. We wanted more Jen.
My name is Holly Holliday. What's yours?
Remember when the Pepper Potts actress was singing and dancing as the substitute teacher Holly Holliday in Glee? That was actually her first television role, and all thanks to her friend Ryan Murphy, who wrote the part into the series for her. It was a pretty memorable experience for her considering that's where she met her husband, Brad Falchuk, one of the other co-creators of the series. Not to mention she won an Emmy for the role. Not bad.
Now might be a really good time for you to get angry.
I'm always angry.
The Hulk actor gave one of his most charming performances as the always ready with Razzle's best friend in 13 Going on 30. However, this performance almost didn't happen at all. Ruffalo almost dropped out of the movie when having to learn choreography for that classic Thriller scene. He was so overwhelmed and hated the rehearsal process. It probably didn't help that Jennifer Garner had experience as a ballet dancer, though.
I think it's, in a weird way, a really wholesome movie for young women.
Does this ballerina look familiar? Maybe if she looked a bit greener. Yes, that is Marvel's Gamora, aka Zoe Saldana. The actress played Ava Rodriguez in the cult classic film Center Stage and was actually one of the only non-dancers in the film.
That was the best time I ever had in my life.
She was only 20 years old and really made her mark on the scene.
Many apologies, Your Majesty.
She's rocked the big screen as Valkyrie, but remember her television debut? She played Jackie Cook in Veronica Mars. This role was one that really prepared her for all the surprising and dynamic female characters she would get to play later in her career.
It's a dubious talent, but snagging guys has always been a breeze.
Thompson has said that it's definitely one of the most treasured roles from her past. Before he had spidey senses, he was a genius who helped to create Facebook and the film The Social Network. Yes, that's him playing Mark Zuckerberg's friend Eduardo Saverin.
It was a very special shoot.
Director David Fincher actually had Garfield whispering insults to Jesse Eisenberg between takes to help put Eisenberg in the right headspace. The jerk who betrayed his friend.
I am aware of the effect I have on women.
We totally forgot that Idris Elba made an appearance as Charles Minor on the mockumentary series for 6 episodes playing Michael Scott's boss. His list of credits is long, but his time on The Office was definitely the first project he did in that type of style, which is pretty much the polar opposite of his experience with the MCU.
It's not for everybody, I suppose.
The nostalgia is real. It's no surprise so many of these loved actors were parts of movies and TV shows that were so formative for us growing up. Now we're just prepping to go back and rewatch as many of these as we can now while we wait for the next MCU movie.